Hi everybody, I hope you're all having a relaxing finals week just like I am. My name is Emily Maleka and I'm here today to talk to you about the gut-brain axis, or the gut microbiome, and its effects on our brains and our behaviors. So, how many of us have ever had the butterflies in our stomach, or maybe that gut-wrenching feeling? I'm sure most of us have experienced these phenomena, but also can't pinpoint where exactly these feelings come from, especially from a biological standpoint. Many of us don't know just exactly how connected our gut and our brain can be, which makes sense due to the fact it's only recently becoming a subject that is being widely researched, especially in the field of neuroscience. That being said, with that research coming out, it seems the gut and the vast amounts of bacteria growing within it have a much larger impact on our overall health, and especially our psychological health, than previously thought. This is due to the fact that the brain and the gastrointestinal tract are so intimately connected. This can result in gastrointestinal problems being worsened by psychological problems, and vice versa, often making it extremely hard to pinpoint individual causes. Shown here is a more visual representation of how this system works. As you can see, the relationship between the gut and the brain is an ongoing cycle, where if one or the other falls behind, they both suffer. For example, normal central nervous system function promotes healthy gut function, which makes sense. That being said, abnormal gut function, such as something like irritable bowel syndrome or obesity, promotes abnormal central nervous system function, which could be anything from depression, anxiety, to anger or addiction. In our gut, we each have what has been called a microbial ecosystem. Just like any other kind of ecosystem where life lives and thrives, this is where all of our gut bacteria lives and thrives. This makes up what is called our microbiota, which are influenced by our genetics, our environment, and our diet primarily. The products of these microbiota influence everything from digestion, secretion, energy, mood, behavior, and so on, making it extremely important to regulate. The status of one's microbiota can be defined as either eubiotic or dysbiotic. When I think about this, I compare it to a utopian society versus a dystopian society, which is something we've probably all been exposed to through literature, video games, etc. Utopian refers to something perfect and healthy, whereas dystopian is the opposite, referring to something that is inherently flawed or diseased. Bacterial flora is what plays the most important role in developing either this eubiotic or dysbiotic microbiota, or utopian versus dystopian society within our gut. As seen here, there are good and bad bacterial flora. That can be a bit misleading though, due to the fact that most of the bacteria we have in our bodies is good bacteria, and the majority of that good bacteria resides in our gut. This good bacteria does everything from helping regulate the gut, aiding an immune response, preventing tumor formation, producing necessary vitamins, etc., and is essential for our healthy survival as a species. This bacteria is essential, especially in our gut, because of its aid in absorbing and utilizing the food we eat, and sending it out to other areas of the body to be used. The bad bacteria, on the other hand, is much less common, but can also be extremely detrimental due to the fact it can cause disease or infection, and ultimately harm the body overall. Some of the bad bacteria you're probably most familiar with is E. coli. Bacteria such as E. coli often comes from ingesting contaminated foods, which ultimately throws off the entire balance of the microbiome, and can make a host extremely sick. Overall, a healthy balance of good to bad bacteria is a ratio of 85% good to 15% bad. This is where we find the healthiest balance while still remaining in a sustainable state. So how does this connect back to our brain exactly? Well, we've already talked about how an unhealthy gut can be detrimental to everything from inflammation, digestion, our immune system response, and now it's coming out that it can have a massive impact on our mood, emotion, and behavior. The gut is shown to communicate with our central nervous system through neural, specifically the vagus and ENS nervous pathways, endocrine and immune system pathways, all leading these signals to our brain, which in turn influence our behavior and our emotion. Hormones and neurotransmitters, along with other immune system secretions, are released from the gut and are known to send signals to the brain either directly or via autonomic neurons, making the importance of a healthy gut vital for healthy mental health. Because of this, the importance of a healthy microbiome, particularly the gut microbiota, for patients suffering from anxiety and depression has become increasingly more talked about in the past decade. Dysbiosis in the gut and inflammation in the central nervous system have been linked as potential causes of mental illness due to their release of pro-inflammatory cytokines that are transported through the multiple different pathways in which our gut is connected to our brain. It has also been shown that something as simple as taking a daily probiotic to balance out the gut microbiome has decreased the symptoms of anxiety and depression, almost, or in some cases as well as, other psychiatric drugs such as Klonopin and Prozac. For some real-world comparison, I wanted to talk a little bit about the study I have been a part of at a research lab on CU's campus. As a research assistant at the Center for Health and Addiction, Neuroscience, Genes, and the Environment, aka the CU Change Lab, I am primarily working on the Alcohol, Inflammation, and Mindfulness, aka AIM study. On AIM, the primary focus of the study is measuring the effectiveness of a mindfulness-based therapy for alcohol dependency versus a more traditional CBT therapeutic approach. Though that is the main aim of AIM, the study is also measuring the correlation between alcohol dependence, inflammation, and the gut microbiome. Alcohol has been shown to have an effect of increasing inflammation in the body, especially the digestive tract. This inflammation is known to have some negative effects on the microbiome, and it is becoming increasingly known that heavy alcohol consumption can be tied to increased negative bacteria in the gut. This causes other psychological problems because of the excessive release of both pro-inflammatory cytokines and neurotransmitters. On the AIM study, participants sign up for an 8-week-long therapy course to decrease their drinking habits. An important step added to the study has been to determine their microbiome levels. They are asked to complete a microbiome sample kit, a stool sample. They complete this kit before they begin their therapy, as well as complete the kit after their course of therapy has been completed. Along with this, at both stages, they are asked to fill out a survey that asks them their weekly intake of certain foods, such as fruits, veggies, beans, potatoes, etc., to get a better understanding of how a diet is impacting them as well. Though the study is not yet complete and the results are not yet available, this is just one example of how research surrounding the microbiome has become important in more ways than one, especially with dealing with mental illness such as addiction. If you guys are at all interested in this kind of research, I would really recommend checking out the Change Lab. So what exactly should I be doing to have the healthiest gut in the world? Can we simply change our diet and completely change the way we feel? Well, that becomes complicated. I'm sure you've all heard the lecture about eating your fruits and veggies, but here it is again with a bit of a twist. Many professionals stress the importance of a diverse but also plant-based diet to achieve the healthiest gut in town. In a study of the microbiome, those who consumed more than 30 types of plants each week had a much more diverse microbiome than those who consumed only 10 or fewer types of plants. But that being said, just because it's diverse doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. Another important factor is getting enough fiber. Fiber is the main course dinner to all of the bacteria in your gut, making it extremely important to get enough. Fiber can be anything from whole grains to garlic, but it is most definitely important to do your research to make sure you aren't starving the good bacteria within your gut. Lastly, it's important to be educated on the importance of prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics, things like yogurt, kimchi, and sauerkraut, promote the growth of healthy bacteria in your gut, while prebiotics support and help add to the already existing beneficial bacteria in your gut. If those foods aren't for you, that's okay. Many people find it hard to get their needed fill of probiotics, but I encourage you to do more research as to foods that you enjoy that are high in probiotic count. As well as that mentioned before, even taking a probiotic or prebiotic supplement purchased from any Target or Walgreens could decrease symptoms of anxiety and depression, almost as well as any prescription medication can, and that's great. I strongly encourage all of you to look into more information as to how to best love your individual microbiome. Fun fact, when we starve the bacteria in our gut, it begins to eat us. No joke, it actually starts to eat the mucus lining in your intestines. So think about that the next time you pass up on some yogurt. Thank you guys so much for coming by and listening to my presentation today. I hope that this information leaves you motivated to make some small changes that can have lasting impacts on your overall health. I encourage you all to do more research into this topic, as there is so much I couldn't cover in such a short summary. Good luck to all of you as your finals week approaches, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.